Hey lovelies, the importance of taking progress photos. Right, now I understand that sometimes the drama and the trauma of looking in the mirror, looking at yourself in the mirror, naked, full frontal, side on, right, can be one of the most traumatic experiences that we've ever been through, right? So our bodies change in midlife. I think we all know that and we've all accepted that, right? And part of my coaching, as much as most people, women, sign up for me for fat loss, they stay for a lot more, but they also begin to understand that it's actually not just about fat loss, and it's certainly not just about scale weight, right? Getting hung up on the scales is easy to do, I would say, right? I filled in my check-in last night for my coach, right? At the moment, if you're watching this video, right, it is currently Friday the 20th of February 2026, right? So I did my check-in last night for my fat loss coach. Right, now I am absolutely meant to step on the scales every day, and I haven't been on the scales since Saturday because they jumped up last week, and as much as I took photos, and I don't believe the scale weight directly correlated with how I looked, as in I felt better and more comfortable in my clothes and out with my clothes than the scale weight reflected, right? I have not been on the scales all week. I've had an absolute wobble about it. I can't understand sometimes how I can coach women, right? Now, I know if any of you had told me this, right, I would have been saying to you, do you know, the scale weights are only one measure, it's a data point, measurements are a better measurement, basically, photographs are a better measurement, how you feel, how your waistband feels, how your bra strap feels, how good your training sessions were, how confident you are that you filled your body with decent food, right? They are way better measurements, way better things to measure your life on than the scales, all right? But I absolutely was correlating the scale weight with how nice a person I am, right? Now, this is actually ridiculous, right? Obviously, I'm speaking about myself, but I'm just telling you that little story because I want you to understand that I do understand the drama of a scale weight, right? But take the drama out of the equation, right? If there was absolutely no drama attached to the scales, right, and we didn't believe that the scale weight made us a better person or a worse person, right, just take that out of the equation, right? One of the best things you can do to see your progress is to take photographs. Something that I am guilty of not doing enough with my lovely clients, so we're going to do it monthly now, and I'll never ask you to share the photographs, right? If you want me to share the photographs, I absolutely will, but I will never ask you for them. This is for you, all right? Just take me out of the equation on this. This is for you. So I would like you to take photographs because it is one of the best ways to see the change in your body composition and body shape, right? As we lose body fat and replace that with muscle, or just lose body fat, all right, things start to change. And photographing yourself in your underwear, brand pants is perfectly acceptable, or training shorts or something. But if you're going to do it in training shorts, try not to do it in like high-waisted ones. Do you know, if you want to lose body fat and you want to change your body shape, like you want narrower thighs or narrower hips or smaller stomach bumps, I've still got stomach bumps by the way, right? Ditch the high-waisted shorts because they won't give you a true reflection. I love high-waisted shorts. You just tuck everything in it. It's absolutely fantastic. Your waist, by the way, and your tummy, not your boobs. That's never a good look. But stay away from there, all right? So brand pants is fine, right? Now, so I want you to take a photograph full on, so full frontal. Turn to your right side, right? Now, your arms, if you put your arms out at shoulder height, so you're like this, all right, it just takes away any arm getting in the way of the camera and your camera angles and stuff. So take your photographs like this, all right, so full frontal, arms down, side photos, back photos. Well, if you want to do a muscle and get your guns on show for your back photos, all right? But do them for you. This is for you. So bra pants, all right? So it tells us when we step on the scales, right, unless you have body composition scales, right, which to be fair are not the most accurate. So unless you're going to pay £3 million to go for a DEXA scan, all right, we never know what our body fat is. Right now, the body composition scales can give you a rough idea, but they're not 100% accurate. So when you step on the scales, just normal scales, and you get your wee figure, right, it doesn't tell you how much body fat. It doesn't tell you the percentage. So it doesn't say your scale weight is 160 pounds or whatever. Your body fat percentage is 30%, right? It might say that, but even then it's not particularly accurate. So this is why taking photographs, right, you can physically see the changes, and that's always a good thing, all right? You can also see where the changes are happening. So I went into my fat loss journey because purely aesthetic, right? I've done the fat loss malarkey in the past, right, for health reasons and all that, right? Now I'm fairly healthy and fairly fit, so this was purely for aesthetic reasons, right? Now I wanted a flatter stomach. That was pretty much it, right? I still have 2 bumps, what I call a top tummy and a bottom tummy, right? I don't have a 6-pack, absolutely not. I'm not prepared to eat that little, but it was purely for aesthetic reasons, right? Nothing else bothered me, right? As it turns out, I have shoulders. I can actually feel bone in my shoulders, right? And I think if I'd thought about it, that would be pretty obvious, but I didn't think about it because I was so fixated on my stomach. So the bonus in my eyes is I have bony shoulders, and I quite like having bony shoulders, to be fair, and it's not even a thing that I thought that I wanted, and now I have it, I'm like, oh yeah, I quite like this. So it's a nice surprise. You'll see yourself, for the first couple of times you do it, you'll absolutely fixate on that one thing that's doing your nutting, whether it's a muffin overhang, whether your sidey bits here hang over your pants, mine still do a wee bit as well, all right? Whether it's your thighs or touch all the way down to your knees, whatever your thing is that you're fixated on, right, you will fixate on that for a couple of months, all right? But then you will start to notice like surprise differences, which is always a bonus, all right? So take your photographs because it lets you see where the changes are happening in your body. And also, if you're taking measurements or just measuring yourself on how your waistband fits or your bra strap fits, again, that is an amazing thing. But the photographs will show you other progress instead of focusing on that one thing, all right? Fat loss, it doesn't always mean dramatic scale drops, right? This is like, you can actually, your body shape can change and you can still weigh the same or more, especially if you're lifting weights, right? Especially if you are new to lifting weights. It is very difficult, it's not impossible, but it is very difficult to gain muscle while you're in fat loss, right? Now, women especially, right, and it's because there's so much stuff on the internet about this, all right? People will say to me, my scales have not dropped, right, but I must be swapping my fat for muscle. Now, if you have about 3 to 4 stone of body fat to lose, right, that is a lie. That is irrelevant, all right? We need to get the body fat off you first, and then we can start building muscle. So your scales should still be coming down, right? Even though I'm sitting here saying to you, it's not all about fat loss and it's not all about scale weight, right? But for a certain amount of time it is. When you only have a little bit of body fat to lose, then it can be it's a bit dodgy, and we need to do things with your diet to cut carbs and get rid of water and all that malarkey, all right? But you could be building muscle if you're lifting weights, all right? And I also want you to remember about the scale weight, right, is that you can be smaller. You can be a smaller version of yourself all over. You can be leaner, as in less body fat. You can be firmer, as in you can feel more toned, right? And you can be more defined, like my bony shoulders, all right? And the scale can barely move, which is why I want you to try and get out of the habit of just focusing on the scale weight. Yes, the scale weight is still relevant, but there are so many other things as well. And just because the scale weight hasn't moved on that 1 week, remember we do averages, right, doesn't mean that you haven't lost body fat. It doesn't mean that your shape hasn't changed. It doesn't mean that your waist isn't narrower. It doesn't mean that your arms are more musclier. It doesn't mean that your stomach isn't flatter, all right? It's about taken the wins from the week, regardless of what those wins are. And just because you didn't have a win on the scale doesn't mean that there hasn't been a win in your body shape or your body composition. All right. Also, the other reason that I'm asking you to do this is because what you see daily, you will normalise, right? So getting up in the morning, putting your underwear on and standing in front of the mirror, right, every single day. And without documenting that, so without taking a photograph, right, you are very rarely going to notice any changes because you see yourself every day and you will not notice them. That is quite normal, all right? Your brain is very clever and your brain adjusts to what it sees. So if you're going to put your underwear on and look in the mirror every day, very rarely will you notice a difference. But if you're sitting with a camera roll of pictures that you've taken once a week or once a month, when you start to get 4 or 5 or 6 of them and you start scrolling back, damn right you're going to notice a difference. Of course you are. Right, but small changes seen daily become invisible. It's like if you've not seen somebody for ages and maybe they've lost body weight, maybe they've lost 2 stone or a stone. You wouldn't notice it if you seen them every day, but if you see them once every 2 months or once every 3 months, of course you're going to notice it. All right. So side-by-side comparisons between 4 and 6 weeks. All right. You will notice that your waist is getting a bit tighter and a bit narrower. You will notice definition on your back muscles, especially if you're going to get into a pose. Yeah, you will notice definition. You will notice the shape of your bum. Maybe your bum has went a wee bit more peachy. Maybe your quads are a little bit bigger. But also you will notice your posture change. You will start to lift your shoulders. You will start to get your chest out and you will just start to be proud of yourself. This is like, the scales can absolutely destroy you. They are relevant, but they can destroy you. It's probably the one piece of equipment that can change your mood like that. And until you're at the stage that you can manage that, I am at the stage that I can manage that, by the way, but I just had a bad week. I just had a bad week. I had a bit of self-doubt and a bit of anxiety and I let it overflow into the scale weight, all right? So it still happens, but it happens less. That's the stage that you're trying to get to. All right, so posture change, right? You will start to notice that you will carry yourself different. You will be proud, your shoulders will come back, you will be raised, your chest will be up instead of this don't look at me, right? We're taking up space, ladies. Fucking brilliant, all right? Also, emotional resilience, right? And this, a lot about what I speak about is I want you to be stronger. And it's not necessarily physical. I would love everybody to get some barbells above their head, but it's mentally stronger and it's mental resilience. It's about not crumbling at the first hurdle or not crumbling at the first setback or not, how many is used to have a takeaway on a Friday night or have a couple of glasses of wine on a Friday night or a Saturday night and then you'd be like, I've absolutely fucked it. And then you would just continue on a downward spiral, right? That is having shit mental resilience. So we want you to understand that your mental resilience, your confidence, your self-belief, the fact that you're a nice person, your supportiveness to other people, right? They're just not. It's just not connected to the scales. It's absolutely not connected to the scales, right? And back to what I spoke about at the beginning, quite often women will come to me for fat loss and all they will be focused on is stepping on the scales. I want to be lighter, I want to be lighter, I want to be lighter, I want to be lighter. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to go, fuck me, I am actually stronger. And maybe the scales don't tell me that I'm lighter, but I'm down a dress size in my jeans. My belt's a notch tighter. Do you know what I mean? It's not just about the scale weight, but taking photographs helps you detach from that. It gives you emotional resilience. It makes you understand that the scale weight in the grand scheme of things is the least important thing about you. Nobody knows that scale weight other than me and you, right? Nobody else knows that. It's never shared. I never speak about it unless I'm speaking about it with you. But nobody knows your scale weight. You could literally jump on the scales on a Saturday, jump on the scales on a Sunday, and there's £4 of a difference, either up nor down, and nobody would know. Nobody would know looking at you, right? So it's mental resilience. It's about understanding that It's okay to be work in progress. Working on yourself, whether you have the results that you want yet or not, is way better than sitting on the sofa, scrolling on Insta, drinking wine, watching the whatever, Netflix or whatever, all right, and doing nothing, right? Being a work in progress is cool. Absolutely cool, all right? So, back to the confidence thing. When you can see yourself standing a bit taller, right, putting your shoulders back, right, you can see a wee bit of definition, a wee bit of muscle coming through, right? You might still have a soft tummy. Do you know, your thighs still might be touching. That's normal, by the way. Then you would try to get a thigh gap. That's totally normal, all right? But you might actually start to believe, and you might actually just start to understand how awesome you are. And the fact that you are getting your arse off the sofa, the fact that you've got yourself a coach, that you're listening, that you're interacting, that you're on my app, that you're tracking your food, that you're making healthy choices most of the time, that you've got your pre-bed routine, that you're drinking your water, do you know, that is what winning at life is. Absolutely, all right? Please try and get away from this. My life does not start until I get to my target. Your life is now. Working on yourself is now. That's okay. That is 100% okay, all right? So, also, motivation, mental resilience. Get away from getting hung up on the scales, says the woman who was hung up on the scales this week, all right? Get away from predominantly getting hung up on the scales and use the other tools that you can use to let yourself see that you are winning at life. Measurements, all right? If you're a woman, measure your chest, all right? Across the nipple and under your bra. Measure your waist at your belly button. Measure your hips at the highest point, the widest point, sorry. Measure your right thigh at the widest point. Measure your right bicep. If you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, measure your left thigh and your left bicep, all right? Take a note of them. Do them when you're doing your photos once a month, all right? The scales are only one measure. They do not tell you how much body fat, how much muscle that you're carrying, all right? You will see that by looking in the mirror. I absolutely promise you. You will see that your shape is changing, and you will see surprise things like shoulders. It's amazing, honestly. Right, but they show changes in your weight, they show posture improvements, muscle definition and body composition shifts, right? You see yourself every day, right? Your brain will normalise small changes so that you'll never see the changes. Take your photographs, right? It's about data, not judgment. That's it. Bye.